because in theme parks, the moment you're seen, the show starts, even though you still might be 400 yards from where the show starts. So we had different songs for walk-in music that we would just walk on through and give the crowd high fives, and they were just all smiles because you just don't see that kind of weird thing very often, and that was the point.
So you got the 20-minute show. You figured out it's going to be about 8 pieces of music. You got your 5-team cast. And then you storyboard it? How does that work for someone that's never seen something like that before?
How do we put it together?
Yeah, how did you put it together? Mm-hmm. And this is all before you actually even pitched it, right?
Oh, yeah. From the musician side, we put it to, you think of it more like a concert. And so we thought about what pieces would be fun to play, what pieces would be fun to write, and then what would be fun to turn into kind of a second line Dixieland style, or all kind of things like that. But we chose the pieces and then created the show out of that. And then say, this works great as an opener, this works great as a closer, and we'll put a few in between. But you only had a chance to get through so many songs, depending on how far you had to walk to get to where you were going, which that was part of the show too, because in theme parks, the moment you're seen, the show starts, even though you still might be 400 yards from where the show starts. So we had different songs for walk-in music that we would just walk on through and give the crowd high fives, and they were just all smiles because you just don't see that kind of weird thing very often, and that was the point.
Yeah, I love that. So how long did it take for you to like choreograph and rehearse and all that good stuff to get it to a point where I'm assuming you filmed it or did some photography so you could pitch it? What did that whole process look like?
We actually still have those first videos. What we did once we got it to a point that we felt was ready, we had the costumes and we got everything. We're like, let's try to do this. Also, getting the music to a point was not difficult. The players were all excellent. We were all playing in a competitive brass band together, so nice. that part wasn't difficult. But it takes time to learn stilts, and you can't rush the time. So we'd go meet at UCF at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night and go walk stilts for an hour or two and go make them learn how to fall. And we had a little hill. I called it Fall Hill. So you didn't have to fall as far, so you could learn how to get up and then how not to worry about it, because then you know how to get up. Yeah, so that's what takes the time, because you can't, if it takes 100 hours, then that's the number of hours. Then we took it to a park. We took it to Lake Eola, downtown Orlando, on a weekend, and just went out and started playing because there were people around, and we had no idea what to expect, but we got a lot of attention, and the cops came over, thought we were panhandling. No, we're not asking for money. but we were getting video for that. We got a lot of pictures with that, and that makes selling it a lot easier. I'm in the process right now of doing something similar for a holiday overlay for the Beads and Brass Band, because it'll be easier to sell if I just get the costumes made and we go out to Lake Eola and go play some Christmas music.
Totally. Got to give them a visual, right? Okay. So now let's go back to your pitching moment where you've got some of these assets, you've got the video. How did you pitch it? What did you do? What was that very first conversation like when you talked to Kimberly or whoever it was over at Legoland?
I honestly don't know.
You blacked out.
I would have just been shooting from the hip and woke up when they said, yeah, come out. What, really?
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Love it. I love it.
That was fun. Yeah, that was funny. They just put us right out on set to see what we would do. They didn't know what we were going to play. They didn't know if we were any good. Let's see what happens.
They said, let's rock and roll. Let's go. All right. So Aaron, I'm going to ask you a very nuts and bolts question. We're going to shift gears from the creative side for just a second. So if someone's listening to this and they're like, man, that sounds like an amazing business opportunity, business venture. Let's talk some numbers for a minute. Was this a contract that you got? Did they say we're going to do like a trial where you give us a couple of shows, and then how did you negotiate price? What did all of that, like the business side of that, look like for you?
the Legoland days, and everything's pretty. It's still pretty similar. What they'll do, they'll tell you how they'll say, all right, here's our Halloween run. And we want you on each of these weekends. So Friday, Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Friday, Saturday, add a Thursday here or add a Sunday here. So you say, okay, it's these are the days because you'd already given them the price per day. For a day, they could get up to 5 20-minute sets once an hour. If it's going to be 5, then you get a lunch. We get a lunchtime in between because it is exhausting, even when we were young and had tons of energy.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
But yeah, so yeah, you would give them, and I think at the time it was very cheap. I think it was like $1,000 a day, and we had to try to build back the credit card. So we were all making $100 a day to go out and do all of this, so that we could try to pay back the credit cards. But that's how it works. And that idea, that concept is pretty much how it still works. If we get called for a single event, they'll tell us what day the single event is on. And if they want that band, they'll say, okay, can we get that band? Are they free? And I'll check. Yes, they're free. Oh, cool. How much is it? Oh, it's this much. Can we get them this day? Yeah, I'll send you the contract. Okay, see you soon.
Got it.
And then you start going down the pipeline, let everybody know all the details and things like that. But yeah, same idea. But yeah, you had a contract for these number of days.
Cool. And so what is like the industry standard now for a 20-minute show? What does the cost range look like?
Oh, that I don't know right now because everything is shifting with the numbers. Everything in Orlando keeps going up cost wise. So a lot of things in Orlando keep going up price wise, including our numbers and the industry's a market. And so when these numbers rise, then they know over here and they say, oh, no, we need that. And so these numbers rise. And so they all keep moving together. So I don't know what everybody's numbers are, but I know they all keep going up together because of the cost of living over there.
Sure. So what's a number you've seen? Let's say it that way. What's a number that you've seen recently that these shows can fetch?
They can fetch for different sized as a number of people in the groups, and then it depends if they're just musicians on the street, or if there is tech involved, or if they're on a stage, or if they're also acting. But it can vary from 1,500 to 5,500 a day really easily.
What is the typical industry standard for a performer? Obviously, it's probably different depending on what skills the performers bring to the table, but how much do the performers make? Let's start talking about costs for your business right now whenever you're booking gigs and contracts.
We want Here's my pitch to the performers out there. Villa Creative wants you to be happy. Our performers at Epic Universe make $300 a day, and that's our standard across the board. Is that everyone's making $300 a day to come make some magic. One thing I hated in the growing stages of this was calling people and maybe they didn't pick up the phone. I'm like, oh, I don't like that. So it took a number of years to find the right numbers where everyone started answering the phone. And that made me very happy. So I'm like, okay, happy to pay whatever it takes to get the best. We're deeply connected into that industry over there. And our friends and counterparts are brilliant players. All of the Duper players I knew when I was in the brass band still over there. I always used to joke because I say they've completely ruined how I write for tuba because I can write anything in the world for them, and tubas were usually known for pretty simple parts. Nope, I could give them full on bass guitar and yeah, and that's what all the great players over there. And there's a lot of great players in that town, and they're really good people. It's like the B city of the East.
Nice.
And they can play in every direction because that's how you work.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so now what I would love to do is break down your process, like a framework, if you will, for We heard how you got started and how your business came to be and how you got that very first gig. What does Villa Creative's process look like current day? Let's say someone reaches out to you and says, "Hey, I'd love to hire you to create X." What does that look like? Can you walk us through the process? Because I'm assuming you're a
Mm-hmm.
producer, I don't know if you're doing the choreography, but what does your team look like? Tell us all the things from start to finish. How does the creation or the producing of a show, what does that look like for your company?
So we've been working to, you can do this phase by phase on your own. That's what we've done over the years. But we've been working this year to really develop a clear and flexible but stable but flexible pipeline, creative pipeline that can work for a single one-off event. We're doing one of those right now, or a whole parade, or a fireworks show, or a stage show that goes on forever. And the process does stay pretty much the same. And we tried to break it down into a 3-act process because, hey, entertainment, 3 acts, where because we want to take the risk out of it, we want to take the fear of the risk out of it for the clients, because often the clients aren't entertainment people. They're not performers. They're not music people. All they see is a giant price tag, and they just pray that it was worth it. So so we give them multiple stages along the way before they have to put up any money, so that they can see where this is going. We call it dream, design, deliver. And that breaks down into a number of other things. But basically we have a discovery call. You let me know your dream, and then I will dream it with you, and then we will just immediately bounce around new ideas. And then I say, okay, great, let's talk again in a week. I'm going to go pull my collective of wild, over the top dreamers together, and we're going to come back and we're going to show you everything else that we came up with, and let's see what direction you want to take this. And up to that point, for that first call, there's it's free to talk. Let's just talk. There's nothing is paid there. And then for that next week, and then to the next call, we come show you these ideas. Just there's no payment. There's no payment. If we have one of these ideas right, and you want to move it into development and really see, let's say this is going to be a stage show or a larger show, then you want to see what this can be, but you don't want to, it would be scary to go jump from this to just paying for the whole build right away. So from this point, now we need a little bit of money, a fee to pay for getting things written, getting some music samples produced, getting costume designs, getting more art, getting lots of things like this, so we can showcase it as clearly as we can at that stage, after that amount of time. And then you can decide, okay, let's build it, or let's develop one of those other ideas, or let's change. But you're a part of the process. Anything to take that fear, that risk of just blowing your money and not knowing where it went away. That's really what we're aiming for.